Boys, this weekend we had BRO and also a tournament in Nagoya, a singles tournament in Nagoya. So I'm sure the results there should be quite interesting compared to all the team ones we had. But if you weren't watching, bro, where were you? What were you doing? What's going on? All right, probably had a shop challenge. That's the reality, right? You're probably getting those buy cards, which is the correct grind, I think, right? Those buy cards are very, very important. So yeah. Expect that, but hey, we have the results here if you missed them. So first off, we had the AO region, right? And we had this was probably the most diverse region compared to everything else. We had some surprise tops as well. So we have the 2 Gandeeva and 2 Zorga, and then 1 Wallista, Chronojet, Hexorb, and Lauren Roll, right? So bit of a surprise there. No one was expecting the Lauren Roll for sure. But then after that, the top 4 actually was White Gandeeva coming first with the Jet. So no Wallista in the top 4 at all. BZ with the Zorga masks, Paris with the Lauren Roll, right? And Genix with the Zorga masks as well. So yeah, like, you know, the top expected decks, the Gandeeva, the Wallista, nowhere to be seen in top 4 in AO. So that's pretty crazy. And then we have some of the decks that won. We'll just look at a few of them because honestly, a lot of these decks we've already seen. But I guess that applies more to the later results. For the AO ones, maybe you haven't seen it as much. So first we have the Jet. So this is the updated Jet. This was post-ban Jet. So you can see like no swirlers, but even talking to like White Gandeeva was playing the deck at the winner interview. There's not really any place that you'd put swirlers in. Because looks like big Zorga fan. Alright, oh, no, not Zargon fan, not Zorga fan. Big Zargon fans. So the Zargons. You know, GGs, and then, yeah, like, do you take GGs for swirlers like Japan did? I don't know, right? I don't know. Eventually, they went to Zargon more, especially after Festival Collection, and then you got the Ling, right? One-off Ling, and then the one-off Jewel Core Dragon. Okay, so pretty interesting there. And then the second place was the Zorga masks. This, yeah, 2 of them in top cut for AO. Genix's one that came fourth was slightly different. I think he ran like 1 less keel severing, and then I think 1 less of these orders, and then 3 of this fine drink of abolishment for sins, which is interesting. Like 3 of this, but you know, even BZ ran just 1, right? And it's quite interesting. You know, big defensive power, and then just kind of you combine this with the bounce from Shadow Cloak to bounce like a PG. Right, and none of the Zorga masks here ran any not the Sanctitude, right? They didn't run the Sanctitude at all. Just focused on 4 of this dude, right? 4 of the Sentinel, and then, you know, then you can kind of work with your Blitz order here without having any impacts at all, right? Which is quite interesting. And yeah, 2 keel severing, you know, 4 roaming Prison Dragon. No, don't need any mask searches. Only run Bista Via. To make the Dragon Tree marker, and then you can kind of search it out, and then, you know, Shadow Cloak and just like kind of dump the mask every turn, right? So pretty cool. Nice to see masks, Zorga masks doing well, right? And then moving on, we have the EU version, which was much more, surprisingly, more Wallistas turned up, but no Gandeevas. Yeah, so 3 Wallista, 2 Chronojet, 1 Zorga, 1 Messiah, and 1 Ava. And then the top 4 was actually a Drat coming in first with the Wallista, then Hikawa coming second with the Messiah. Yeah, third was Saram with the Wallista, and fourth was Smurf with the Jet. Alright, so I guess, you know, everyone was expecting the Wallista, and the Wallistas did perform in EU. And so here was Drat's Wallista list, right? Running the Requius, just for the extra, the one-off tech, right? And then, you know, running Blue OT. And then some, but this is more of the Ramona build where you kind of can push earlier, right? With better numbers, 3 Yuika. And then the Hikawa deck with just Messiah. This is just, I think, looks like, should be not even, oh, what the hell? Not a fully standard Messiah, only use 2 Mikanis, and then running 3 of the trial deck. So, yeah, it's just her big claw. Literally the definition of, like, you know, open a Messiah trial deck and see what you can do with it, I guess. Right, just took out one Alter Ego Messiah and 1 of the Stride Fodder, Destiny Dealer, to put in 2 Mekanis, right? And that's actually surprising. Wow, okay, nice. And then in NA was crazy meta. Look at this. 5 Wallista, 2 Gandeeva, 1 Zorga, right? So every single region increases the Wallista count by 2, right? By 2. And their top 4 was much more boring, I have to say. Nomad coming first with the Wallista, Shri coming second with the Gandeeva, then Kai, not me, with the Wallista, and then Mana, exclamation mark with the other Wallista. So 3 Wallistas in top 4. Pretty crazy, right? Pretty crazy. And then, yeah, here are the decks. So, again, the first place Nomad's deck was running the Ramona build, but also running 4 Yuikas instead, and also running the red OT as well. No Requies, nothing like that. Just full-on, I guess, consistency, right? And then the only Gandeeva to have made it into, past top 8 was Shri, right? Was Shri? Double check. Yeah, Shri is a Gandeeva. Running 3 Brachio Force, 3 Bosun, right? 3 Bosun, okay. Best Harvest. Not running the Bavsagra ride line, just going for the old school, Gandeeva stuff. And then, yeah, 2 Meteor Flares as well. So, is it 2 fronts? 2 fronts, 2 draws, 7 crits? Okay. Yeah, pretty interesting. A bit of, like, rainbow mix, right? Rainbow mix, nice. And that is pretty much all of BRO, right? Pretty expected meta in terms of the decks, right? Or Wallista, Gandeeva. I guess the surprising thing was that Gandeeva wasn't doing as well compared to JP, right? JP in this day and age would just be like Gandeeva, like Wallista, something like that. But AO was quite diverse, NA less so, and then, we had some interesting tops in EU as well, right? But moving on to Nagoya. So Nagoya was singles. There was quite a big amount of breakdown. So 3 Gandeevas, 3 Wallistas, 2 Leonorns, 2 Mushiking, and then 1 Minerva. And then this is Turk and Rambu, Hexa Orb, Zorga, and Bastion. And although it's so diverse, I'd have to say there was diversity cut. There's always diversity cut. You'll probably see soon when the diversity cuts start. So here is the kind of end of Swiss rankings. So in the first place of the Gandeeva, then you had, you had Zorga, Leonorn, Gandeeva, and then Mushiking, Gandeeva, both in 5th place, and then onwards another Mushiking and Leonorn. So you can safely say that diversity cut, these were all the X0s, they all performed very well, but then after that, this is where the diversity cut starts, because you can kind of tell, because these decks aren't represented in top cut, right? So then we had the Bastion Accord, the Minerva, the Token Rambu, the Wallista, Nordlinger, Wallista, Hexa Orb, and Wallista. So I think every deck that eventually won? Oh, no. So one of the decks that came in top 4 was an undefeated deck, and then the others made it through via diversity cut. But again, like you can kind of see why diversity cut is a bit janky, right? Look at this. The Leonorns made it, but the one Zorga that made it in top here, make sure that no Zorgas make it through here, right? Make it through here. But then, like, if because no Wallistas topped at all here, then 3 Wallistas make it through because of the ranking. So diversity cut, I don't know, right? Anyway, let's kind of take a look at the top 4. Well, I guess here's the top 4. You see the Minerva won, and then the Gandeeva, who went undefeated, came second, and then we had the Token Rambu, and then the Hexa Orb, right? So these are pretty much just interesting, I guess. Some of these decks really strong. I guess the Token Rambu, this is not the meta Token Rambu, but we don't really see it at all in English. So yeah, crazy, right? Because so we'll look at some of the interesting decks. So first off, let's look at the Minerva. This is the Minerva who topped. We can run this right in set 11 very soon. We have the PRs already. We're just waiting for the grade 1, and after that, we can play it, right? We can build it. So it should be pretty good. Pretty good deck. Next, we have the Gandeeva. This is running, this is the new Gandeeva running the new, the new grade 3 from set 12. And then Brachio Force. 4 Best Harvest, right? I know a lot of people, the popular count for this order is 3, but maybe this is going up due to the meta. So it should be something interesting to look at, right? And then no Forbital, right? Forbital was kind of the cool thing to run because of the good grade 3s that you can run, but looks like not run in this deck at all. I kind of skipped the Togaramu, but just moving on to the Hexa Orb, right? Because Togaramu won't be relevant for our BCS season at all, right? But this is the Hexa Orb that made it through, running one of the Ride Line Returners for the extra defense, running 4 Sages. This grade 2 seems not to be. This is from DBT 12, so a new grade 12. I mean, not a new grade 2 from set 12, buffing up Hexa Orb a bit, running 2 copies of that. But otherwise, the rest of it is just, I guess, this grade 1 as well is also new from set 12. Okay, that's nice. And yeah, otherwise, the rest of it is just the core. So a few additional upgrades from set 12 make it okay. But again, only one Hexa Orb list that we've been seeing. Let's kind of look at the more interesting list as well. So this is the Nordlinger list that tops. Actually, just a pure Gravidia list. So running 4 of the OG Gravidia and 3 of the Gravidia masks. So not sure how effective that is, right? But then you running the Burrito, you have 2 of the mask Searcher, and then you run 2 of each of the mask Support. So this is the one that puts meteors into the Order Zone and lets you draw 1. So this is the new one from set 12. And then the other one here is just one that lets you, it just gets power, right? It's like basically like a 15k beta, right? And then you get like, yeah, it's I guess the order counts are weird though, right? Because this deck is like so bloated. You have 2 masks, but so it's 2 masks, but you know, because you're running so many Gravidias, you kind of like probably don't care, right? Like if I have to Persona Ride another turn, I don't mind because I draw cards. So you know, it's you don't have to go to mask immediately. You can, you have the option to, but you have the option to stay as well because OG Gravidia still does work, right? And then you run 3 of the big media and 5 of the small media. There is like a combo that you can do with the big media and the Burrito with the masks. So technically you can run less than 4 big media counts because you can keep on recycling them. Just because you can call them back into the Order Zone before they bind themselves, which is kind of funny. And then you can run more of the lesser media so you can combo it better with the Gravidia, because then that lets you draw cards. So I guess that's one way to build this deck. It's a bit weird. Gravidia definitely not on the top of my lists, but just an interesting way to build it, right? And then the Leonore list that went undefeated is basically because of this card. This is a new PR that Leonore that supports Leonore and Gramphia, basically, right? So the effect is basically continuous during your turn. If there's 2 or more grade 1 or less in your back row, you get this guy gets boost and plus 5k, right? So nice 15k beta, and you can boost with it. It's pretty good. And then the second effect is once per turn. So when this unit is stood by either Granfia or Leonore, right? If your Vanguard is 33k power or higher, Soul Blast 1 and draw a card. And for this turn, this unit gets plus 5k. So I guess, you know, extra way to draw cards, extra boost, can boost it up to like 20k by itself. And then, you know, if you under Persona, it's 30k. So it basically fulfills the role of a beta that Leonore was kind of looking for, that you can, you know, restand. But then this also draws you cards. So it's like a 2-in-1 card. So naturally that just satisfies everything you need. So that's why you see 4 of it. And maybe that's why Leonore is doing better than before, right? And then you have one of the Ride Line Returners. This is from DBT 12 support. So nice. And then you have 4 of the Misty Arc Habitats. It's because it's just an insane card. It's just a really, really good card for every single Stoic K deck. And that's just how this entire deck runs now. Running 3 of the OG Leonores with the mask, which is, I guess it makes sense because I did mention before that the mask, Leonore mask effect that lets you call a card and retire is actually pretty good. So you can run the old one a bit more. But yeah, that's just how, that's one of the Leonore decks, and the other Leonore deck is much more, not even a mask build. It's not even a mask build, it's just running OG Leonore. Right, one of the the over trigger removers, and then just still running 3 of this PR. I guess it's like you can probably rush this better. You just make a bunch of plant tokens and rush. Misty Arc Habitat as well, running like a Rorowa Ride Line into a yeah, like running a Rorowa Ride Line into this, I guess is, yeah. So it's quite interesting, right? Like both of these Leonore decks very different. One of the mask, one of the not masks, but able to do well, right? So I guess some testing could be done if we get this PR, but that's I think the PR is basically the reason why this deck is gone from like no tier or like very hyper mid tier to like looks like it seems to be doing well, right? We'll see in the coming weeks. Anyway, that is it for all the results this week. Let me know in the comments what you think, right? And I'll see you all next time, all right? Bye.